What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be throwing on a adjustable fuel pressure regulator on the boosted Hardbody. Now if you guys don't know, I am doing a little turbo series on the Hardbody, and I'm kind of show you guys the way I'm doing it and how I'm boosting it in a budget, I guess, in a sense. Now in all honesty, it's actually pretty cheap for what you're getting compared to all the other products. You all do the same thing, yet they cost triple, maybe even quadruple what this thing costs. And for those of you who don't know what a rising rate fuel pressure regulator is, so imagine your fuel pressure regulator. It's what regulates your fuel, I guess you can call it. It's in the name. So an adjustable one is what I had on my old Hardbody, and what I did with that was you're supposed to run 43 static PSI of fuel pressure, which is like at idle and so on and so forth. But what I did is, since I had more air because I had it turboed, the way I kind of got around it, and it wasn't really the right way to do it, but this is just how I did it at the time because I didn't know much and it was the cheapest option. So what I did is I bumped up the fuel pressure, which, like I said, is not how you're supposed to do it, but it works. So instead of running the 43 fuel pressure PSI that you're supposed to run, I was running 50 on idle. So it was running really rich on idle, but when it would hit boost, it would run perfect and the AFRs would be nice and clean and good. Now the only issue with that is that you run rich, and when you run rich, one, you're wasting a bunch of fuel, and two, you end up just fouling out your spark plugs, and it's just not good to do. Plus, if you have a catalytic converter, you burn right through that, and you burn all your O2 sensors and all that stuff. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. For example, if I throw it on and I have it at 43 PSI static fuel pressure, it's a rising rate. So every pound of boost it sees through the intake manifold or the vacuum line, the vacuum system I should say, it'll raise 1 PSI of fuel. So if you have 43 PSI and you gain, and you're doing 5 pounds of boost, let's just say, you're gonna have 48 PSI of fuel pressure, which will help accommodate with the boost. Now personally, I wouldn't rely on that anymore. At the time I did it because that's all I had access to, and even the one I had wasn't a rising rate. So if I had this rising rate at that time, it would have been so much better. But I wouldn't recommend doing it like that. I would have it to assist, but I wouldn't have that just be your management. So this truck is going to get fuel pump, eventually it's going to get injectors, it's going to get more boost. I have the piggyback SAFC that I'm going to be running, and just a bunch of stuff. So right now I'm just doing it as budget as possible, and I want to see how much this turbo can hold, because realistically I don't think this turbo can hold more than 10 pounds reliably. I think the turbo is going to go anytime soon. So right now I'm just making it boost, and then whatever breaks or goes bad, I'm going to swap it with good parts that I have, as you can see right there. Garrett name brand turbo, and I'm running an eBay one on the truck. So I really just want to see what this turbo can do and how cheap I can get around with doing this. Lucky for you guys, Max Speeding Rods actually gave me a coupon. That way you guys can use it if you guys are looking to purchase this or any other things they have. They have connecting rods, they have turbos, but they did give me a coupon, so that's going to be down in the description in case you guys want to use it to save yourselves a little bit of money when purchasing some of their products. They have a few different color combos. I believe they have a red and blue, like your typical AN lines. And then I got the black one just because it seems more sleek and low-key. Look at that. So right here, you have the fuel pressure regulator itself. So the cool thing about this one is you have 3 ports. You have the bottom, which is your return, and you have a feed, and then this could be your return, or you could have a feed. It's up to you. Or if you just want to mount it this way and you don't want to use this side as your feed, then you could use the feed on this side and use this plug on this side or the bottom. However you want to do it, it's pretty cool. It also comes with a gauge, and the gauge goes from 0 to 100 PSI, if you can see it right there. So that's pretty cool. Right here is the boost reference I was talking about. So you plug in a vacuum from your intake manifold into that. So when your intake manifold sees boost, then the fuel pressure regulator will also see boost. And then up here is how you adjust it. So I'm going to throw it on the truck as it sits and see what fuel pressure I get. But like I said, we're going to try to get 43 PSI static fuel pressure. It also comes with the fuel line, so that's pretty cool. You get different sizes. You got a small one, you got a medium one, and you even got a really long one that you can cut down and make it fit however you want. So that's pretty cool, the fact that it comes with everything you need. Now enough talking, and let's get to installing this. Before you start, you're going to want to get all the fuel pressure out of your lines. So the way you can do that is go to your fuel pump relay. Mine is located right here on the passenger side wheel well, but yours might be under the dash in the vehicle or on the driver's side somewhere in the engine bay. So make sure you locate that first. You could either pull it out and start the vehicle. It's going to start for a second. It might not even start, or you can turn it on and unplug it and then let the car die, which is what I like to do, just to ensure that all the fuel pressure is out of it. I'm already in the process of removing the factory fuel pressure regulator since we're not going to be using this anymore. Now I did struggle a bit since it has screws, and screws get stripped very easily. So I ended up kind of stripping that one, but I finally got it loose, and I just gotta get it all the way out. Now that I got the OEM fuel pressure regulator off, now I can go ahead and mount my aftermarket fuel pressure regulator. So this is kind of the part where you get to have some fun and put it anywhere you want. So I got the fuel pressure regulator all mounted up, so it's all ready to go. I have this really long piece of vacuum line that I have for extra. I put it on the little nipple, and now I'm gonna put it on the intake manifold down here, this nipple that you see on the center of the screen. Since this is the one that I was running for the factory fuel pressure regulator that goes right there, you can see it right there. So I routed it under the intake so it's a little bit cleaner and it doesn't go up through here that way. In total with this truck, I only have 3 vacuum lines. I know it looks like a lot, but there really isn't. So I have one that goes to the fuel pressure regulator, which is the one that I'm going to add, and the one that I'm going to remove right there into that nipple. And then I have the big one that goes from here to the brake booster. And then I have this little one which goes off of another nipple down here, and that is just simply for the boost gauge. So in total I only have 3 vacuum lines in this intake system. I finally got the adapter that I needed. So this is from Phase 2 Motorsports. I got this on eBay for about 20 bucks. I'll have the link of where I got this down in the description in case you guys want to check that out. But now this is going to go into the factory fuel row where the fuel pressure regulator goes, and then we can either go to AN line, or we can use the factory fuel line nipple that it comes with and just slide it over with the hose clamp. So this should just pop in like so. There you go. And then now we just add our screws back in there. Alright, so I just threw on the AN fittings on the provided line that the little kit came with. So this is actually the perfect size for where I'm mounting it. It's going to go right off of there and then twist, and then with the little 90 right into there. And then the drain, it's going to go straight down into the factory drain, which is this one right here. Over here, since this has another port over here, I'm just going to use the little block off plate that it comes with, or screw, whatever you want to call it, and then that'll take care of that. This is the fitting that I'm going to be running for the return line. Let me get you guys in focus. So this is what it looks like. So this will go into the bottom of the fuel pressure regulator, and then the bottom you could attach just a basic fuel line to it. You don't have to do any AN lines. The reason for this is because if I use this, I could still retain the factory return fuel line. So that's what I'm going to do for now. I just pulled it out of the intake manifold over here. Here it is. It's running at about 40 psi, maybe, yeah, about 40 psi. And that's just how the fuel pressure regulator was set at. I'm going to put it to 43. That's what you're supposed to run, is about 43.5 static pressure. So I'm just going to quickly adjust that on the piece right here, lock it down with this nut, and we should be good to go.